Before you apply for any credit card, there's three things that you would want to have before you actually do that. And in this video, I'm going to talk about those three things, and I'm going to go over some points within those three things that you should probably do before you apply for any type of credit card. Let's get into it. And in this video, I will be referring to the personal side of credit, not the business side, because business is a little bit different than it is personal. But for the personal side, there's a lot of rules to credit cards and the way you want to go about it. So when I'm talking about this information, I'm not referring to the business credit cards or the way business credit is built or anything of that nature. So keep that in mind throughout the video. But speaking of which, the first thing you need in order to apply for a credit card the proper way and understand it to use it the right way is financial literacy, or understand the credit card system way better than the majority of people, because I think that's the first flaw with people. They just don't understand the credit card system at all, and I fell victim to this. So I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to as far as understanding the credit card system. I mean, it's a hard system to understand. I mean, something as simple as using over 30% of your credit card's limit is something you're not supposed to do. How would you know that unless someone taught you that? And if you're from humble beginnings like me, then nobody in your family would have told you that because they never done that. So long story short, what I'm trying to say is you have to understand the credit card system in order to use it the right way. Because let me tell you a story. When I first got my first ever credit card, I actually maxed it out thinking that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, they gave me this money, so I use it. And I thought as long as I paid the minimum balance on it, that I would be in good standing and my credit would grow. And that's just wrong. It's all the way wrong. I know that now, but then I wish I had the information that I'm about to give you. And a little bit more on utilization, because before you get a credit card, you will want to know, you want to keep it below, well, I like to keep it below 10%. Some places like Experian, TransUnion would say it's safe to keep it below 30% of your overall credit limit. But I like to say 10%. But even more important than the utilization is your payment history. That's 35% of your overall credit score, meaning basically if you have a balance and you don't pay it, it will be a late payment, and that late payment will kill your credit score. So if you do have a balance, the best thing to do is just pay it off in full. And although the payment history is the most important thing, another thing that'd just be so sneaky, it'd catch you off guard, is actually applying for too many credit cards. And this one actually got me very recently in my credit card journey, but I actually did it strategically. But no matter how strategized your movements are when you are applying for a credit card, I mean, the credit bureaus will notice. And if you apply for too many, this actually affects your overall credit score. It's basically what they like to call hard inquiries. And if you have too many of these does affect your credit score, and it takes 2 years to fall off. So if you're going to apply for a credit card, make sure it's actually useful, which brings me into point number 2. Number 2 being your spending habits. Credit cards aren't really that useful if you don't really have places that you use those credit cards at to get the max value. And the key word in that is the max value, because some credit cards specialize in you buying things from restaurants. Some credit cards specialize in you buying things from grocery stores. But if you use these credit cards in the right places, you get the max amount of value from that credit card. And basically you earn more points. But remember the key to this, you have to pay all your balances off in full and not leave any balance that can accumulate interest over time. Like I said, that interest rate is extremely high on a credit card. So you want to avoid that at all costs so you can get the max value out of your credit card. But the kind of credit cards I like to use, I like to call them, or the credit card community likes to call them, catch-all cards. Basically credit cards that has at least 2% cash back on all purchases. Stuff like the SoFi credit card or the Apple card. These are two of my favorite credit cards, and if you watch my channel any, you would probably know that. But I have plenty of videos covering those credit cards if you're interested in learning more about them. But I like to use catch-all cards because it's easy to get the max value out of those credit cards, because wherever you use them, depending on how you use them, you get that 2% cash back on all purchases, making it extremely easy to get the max value out of credit cards. So I felt like I would say this part simply because if you're going to apply for a credit card, you should probably use it the best way you possibly can. And yes, catch-all cards come in all shapes and sizes. Like, it's not just cash back, but you could also get it for travel. Me personally, I'm team cash back, so I'm going to lean more on that side. But not only that, the other thing that you want to make sure of is that whatever your spending habits are, you actually get the credit card that fits that. But if you have to go out of your way to spend on something simply because you want to earn more points, then that's not a win, and that's not really what you want to use your credit card for. You want to still avoid those things simply because you wouldn't have spent money there to begin with. So don't start spending money there because your credit card will give you rewards if you spend at that place. Hence why I like catch-all cards, because they typically work everywhere. But everything I just said in this video doesn't matter if you max out your credit card and you do not have the money to pay it off. So long story short, point number 3 is you have to have the money to actually pay your credit card off. And I know this one seems extremely obvious, but we didn't get trillions of dollars in credit card debt from people properly using them. And honestly, like I said, I fell victim to this, and I'm very grateful that I'm able to get out of credit card debt. I was able to about a year ago, but overall, you cannot get out of credit card debt if you do not have the money to do so. So meaning, if you cannot afford it already, then you probably shouldn't buy it on your credit card and believe that you'll pay it off later when you get paid later this week. That is not a method you want to use whenever you apply for a credit card. Or for God's sakes, please do not get a credit card for a lifeline. Like, I need to pay this thing, so I'm going to get a credit card in order to buy it, but I don't have the money for it, and I don't even plan on paying it. Try not to do that, but obviously I understand situations happen. I know we're all human. We're just trying to make it another day. But basically what this video is trying to shine a light on is the fact that these are things that you should have whenever you are applying for a credit card for the max value. If you want to get the most out of credit cards, then these are things you should have. But obviously, I know how the world is. I know what's going on, and I know it's a little tough out there. But if you can manage to get these 3 things, then I'm sure you applying for a credit card, you will be able to get the max value out of them. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.